Thanks for what you do with your podcast and all the rest. You're doing a great job. Hope everybody keeps tuning in. You get a lot of good info, a lot of insights, understandings of how to get strong, how to stay strong, how to use your strength.
You do a great job, dude. You make things better than they are in real life, I think.
If you don't follow Massenomics, y'all do it. Social media, website, everything.
Massenomics.
Yeah. Welcome to Massenomics, the world's strongest podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Massenomics. Make sure you go visit Massenomics.com. There you'll find the rest of our powerful content. While you're there, check out our store and buy yourself some of that sweet Massenomics gear. Good to go?
Yep.
All right. All right, guys, we are live here in the Massenomics Studio, a.k.a. the Hangover and Muscle Soreness Dungeon.
Yeah.
We are here about, how many hours are we? We're about 24 hours removed from the end of the, we are. You're not.
close,
You're a couple weeks behind.
Yeah,
But
you're like 2 weeks.
From
You're
the-
like 200 hours removed or something.
from the Massenomics Strongman Showdown out at the old Brown County Fair. This is our big recap episode of that. Everybody
weren't
pretty
there,
much
you
feels
missed
like
out.
I think everybody pretty much feels like shit at this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
What are your sore points?
for sure the tennis elbow thing that I definitely re-aggravated is the worst. Then my traps and neck, and I don't know where the traps I'm sure, but I don't know why my neck. Probably just from my traps, but yeah. And then a general hit by a bus feeling.
Yeah. For me, it's just I kind of had this SI joint issue about 2 weeks ago, and without a doubt, Strongman will re-aggravate that to the max.
I feel like if you have anything
That's a little. Yeah, really anything.
Yeah,
that might be a
nothing's
little
coming out.
hurt.
Yeah.
we were talking about it if you have any sort of issue from your neck down to your feet, running with a 600-pound yoke
Will expose it in a hurry.
definitely expose that.
Yeah, really. Unless it's maybe you have a scalp issue. Well, that should probably.
But we
remain
also
on.
had a few people eat a steel log with their fucking skull. So.
Yeah.
That's true.
I got this little stamp mark on mine right here. Had my threw my hat on backwards. The snap was there. Threw the log up, and it came down, just caught just the front of my forehead, and it stamped me a little bit.
So
I think
did that hurt or?
No, it didn't hurt at the time at all. Now when I rub over it, I mean, it's a little sensitive, but yeah, for me it was that SI joint's a little sore again, and then besides that, I mean, it's just it feels like I had a hard workout yesterday. Nothing too bad. I'm really tired from last
And
night.
then followed it up by drinking
Yeah.
so much beer, which is basically the best way to recover from really intense, heavy training.
Really intense,
Yeah.
really heavy.
Yeah, there was a point last time, I feel pretty loose and good right now. I'm like, God, that's totally not what is supposed to be happening. So
I feel like I didn't earn this type of fluidity in my life right now.
Yeah. My I guess kind of my traps, but it's some weird spot in the middle of my back. If you retract your shoulders, where it's that needs to be massaged or something is really sore in there.
And I have that's the same thing, and I have a feeling that I actually think it's probably from the stones, pulling the stones back. 'Cause there's nothing else that I've done that would. Everything else I'm kind of familiar with. I don't know what the fuck made that hurt so bad, but
Maybe the deadlift. It's probably everything on top of each other. You do the farmer's carry, and then you do the deadlift, and then you do that. So all of them together probably add up to that. I have a lot of little cuts and nicks and sore spots on my hands too that I didn't notice at the time, and now I'm my thumb is kind of bruised.
And let's give the camera, for those watching on YouTube, a rundown of our Atlas Stone burns. We'll start my arm. I've got there, nothing too bad there. Other forearm is pretty gnarly, and then a bunch of looks like tears in my bicep and bruises. Tommy, you've got
these
a couple doozies.
nothing too major, but yeah.
And the scalp injury. Tanner doesn't have shit.
I have a little tacky left on my arm.
Yeah. Tanner wore his
Gauntlets.
stone sleeves.
Gauntlets.
Yeah. Whatever, dude. But
Whatever makes you feel cool.
Basically, he came away pretty much unscathed.
Yep.
But
My biceps are really sore.
Yeah.
Though, really sore.
Yeah, that was. We're gonna get into that here. Should we dive right into it, or do we want to do any sort of overview?
Maybe we can talk Maybe we should do some sort of overview, or do we want to go through the events and then talk about the finer points outside of the events, or do that first?
Let's do that. Let's get on a timeline, and then we'll bounce around from there.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll never
Never
get
get
anywhere.
through any of it.
Should we start with what time you showed up on
All right.
Saturday, Tanner?
So Tanner, first off, Sean's sends us a message in our group text. He's like, "What time are you guys heading out there?" And Tanner told me he was heading out about 8:30, and so I replied to that message. I said, "Well, I think we're heading out around 8:30 or 9." And Sean goes, "Why so early?" Which means Austin doesn't know that we have to set all that stuff up. I don't think he was aware of that.
Like, because when he gets there every year, he walks up and it's like, "Man, it looks pretty good." Everything's like, I don't know. I guess he's like, I don't know who did it, but
Man, they really,
yeah.
the fair volunteers really stepped it up.
And like 10 people within the 24 hours prior to it messaged me all separately asking me what time I was going to go out there. And I don't know if they're just like asking me as just a competitor, thinking that would be the only reason I would go out there.
Yeah.
And not like that I'm also setting everything up.
Yeah.
But every time I told them that that's everyone's response, like, "Oh, I saw early."
Yeah. Except for like me and Ross.
Right,
We were
right.
like, "All right, we'll be there."
Yeah, right. But it's like, well, because it takes a while, I guess. I don't know.
So then what time did you actually get out there at?
8:30. Yeah. I woke up at 3 a.m. and couldn't fall back to sleep, and I was wondering if I should just go out there then. And I was like, well, there's probably still drunk people from the concert before that I'd have to mess with. So,
Yeah.
so I didn't go out at 3 a.m.
But so we got out there. Everything got set up pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Pretty seamless.
It went better than last year. Having a year under our belt of knowing some of the things to expect made a difference.
And knowing the weather was going to be on our side too.
That helped a lot. That was a big plus this year.
Yeah, the weather basically the only way it could have been better is if it was about 10 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
But
By the end of it was getting pretty hot.
Yeah.
But there's like otherwise it was perfect.
Yeah.
We couldn't ask for it to be better.
So we got in. Everybody came in. All the contestants showed up. Larry lost his fucking competition shirt.
And see, my thing on that is I purposely don't give anyone their shirt until the day of, when like they get there for competing.
We have the shirts a week or two ahead of time.
Yeah.
But we will not even consider giving it to the competitors until they show up.
Because like 4 out of the 11 will come and be like, "Oh shit, I forgot it. Sorry, man."
Yeah.
Be like, "Oh, you got an extra one for me?"
Yeah.
That was what everyone would,
Just write your name on the back.
Yeah. But so I didn't give Larry his until the day of, and he still lost it, and never left a 10-foot radius.
And we thought maybe there was some sort of a pumping iron-esque prank going on, but that wasn't the case. Larry just lost it in his own bag. Yeah.
That's how you know you have a lot of stuff in your lifting bag. You put things in there, and 5 minutes later, you think they're lost.
Yeah. But anyway, everything pretty much went off without a hitch in the beginning.
Yeah.
We had same deal. I had Rusty Rocket MC the deal. Had the National Guard color guard there. We had how old was the girl who sang
10
the
years
national anthem?
old.
10 years old.
Yeah.
And absolutely just crushed the national
Yeah,
anthem.
like I would almost like make this bet that out of anybody ever doing an event, you will not have a better national anthem singer than what we had.
Whitney Houston is not alive anymore. I don't know if you're going to get anybody to do it better than this 10-year-old.
Yeah,
She was good, right?
It was like the whole time it's going,
crazy.
I'm just smiling like, wow, Tanner really did pull through on this one. Like,
Because that with the color guard and stuff, I think everyone in the
very
crowd at that
official.
point said, last year they kind of knew what to expect, but there's a lot more people there this year, and probably a lot of people there that weren't there last year. I think at that moment in time, they're like, "Oh, like something's going on here."
these guys
Like,
actually maybe are legit.
yeah, it's like that's the moment where you're just kind of meandering around, checking
Yeah.
something out at the fair. You stop, you're like, "Oh, a lot of people over here," and then that goes on, and you're like, "Whoa, what the hell is this?"
I think that is how half of the people came to watch it. Was, look like there are a lot of people over there. Better walk to it. It's like, I don't know that old comedian, stand-up comedian's bit, but it's like, man, white people will just stand in a line, won't they? Without knowing what's at the other end. But, it was, we had a really good turnout.
We also did our starting lineups.
I like that too. You kind of took the time, did the homework, and built the resume for everyone.
Yeah,
Did you do that? Or did
Yeah,
Rusty? Oh, okay.
he wouldn't
he wouldn't have
know
known all
those things. I gave him the list of everyone, and
which was kind of cool. Everyone's credentials was like, wow.
There's a lot of credentials, so
true.
it was cool.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
it was.
Like I mixed in powerlifting and strongman and everything like that, but it's cool. Like Larry standing there, like ready to get announced, and they're like, he's competed in over 15 strongman and powerlifting competitions and has multiple records in multiple weight classes, and you know, it's kind of cool. Or like Greg Wagner gets ready.
Like Greg's credentials, people were like, what the fuck? Like they start rattling off like because squatted 850 pounds.
Yep, and is like in the powerlifting
third.
Hall of Fame and has finished third in the world, and everyone's like, I don't know
really?
what that means, but
That seems
That's-
serious. Like if the people with the frisbee dogs next door, if their dogs were the third best in the world, like people would be like, oh, really?
yeah.
Oh, we're getting a real good show here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Greg did finish third in the world single ply IPF in 2009
That's nuts.
in his weight
It
class.
is.
So that would be it. I don't know if the weight classes had changed yet at that time, so it might have
I think
been.
they were different then.
Yeah, I think so. It would have been like 275 and under. I'm
Yeah.
guessing is what he was in. But yeah, he third in the world.
He
Like
is terrifyingly strong.
Yeah.
Like Greg walks around strong. Like,
Yeah, he
he
does.
just walks and you're like, man, that
Yeah.
guy can do some shit.
yes, but so that thing was cool. And so everyone got to walk out to the crowd and give a
Yeah.
little wave. How many people do you think were there?
I can't even quantify. What I normally try to do is I start
Count a section.
I'll count to like 25 people, get an eye on what
Yeah.
that is, and try and extrapolate that. There was many hundred.
Yeah, I
There was like
threw out 400 to a few people, and a couple people were like,
think
"Oh, there's more than that."
To me, that
Yeah.
seems like the low end.
Yeah.
Like,
Because just the two larger bleachers, there was like 60 people on each.
Right.
So there's like there's about 150 people in that
Just
section.
in there, yeah.
Which was like 1/6 or
Yeah.
eighth of the actual
So
coverage. So
500 or 600 wouldn't be.
that's what I
I'm
thought
somewhere
was
between 5
closer.
and 7 is my guess.
And a lot of that was standing room only.
If there
I
would've
still
been
think
more bleachers,
there
we'd
would have
have
been
had
more
more.
people.
Yeah.
Like if we would have more bleachers.
I do know
like,
people told me that they kind of there's people left
because they
because they couldn't see.
Yeah.
right.
I don't blame them. Who wants to stand for? I mean, you're not at a concert, so who wants to
Right.
stand at
Yeah.
2 hours for an event where the people
just
aren't
hearing
even
us
on the
grunt.
stage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the limiting factor on our audience is still just
The venue.
being able to have enough decent spots for people to watch and see.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we rolled right into before we did the whole starting thing, we had the newspaper come out and they did a live walkthrough, which I did actually go back and watch that. That actually was kind of funny.
It
That
was,
turned out pretty good.
yeah, it was cool.
But I think that got a lot of people saw it. There was a
That
shit
wanted-
pot of comments on it, so that was
Yep.
kind of cool. Anyway, we started with the yoke
yoke and
and
sandbag medley.
That I hadn't ever practiced on this yoke, and I don't know a whole lot about training with the yoke. I just knew that seems heavy, 600 pounds.
Yeah.
And so when I was hearing people talk about strongman training, they say let's say you're training for 1,000-pound yoke. You don't want to train with 1,000-pound yoke a week before
Right.
the competition because it'll take too much out of you. You're better off training light. Well, I hadn't even had time to mess with it until maybe a week ago, and I was like, I don't know what 600 is, but I don't want to find out until I have it on my back.
Sometimes that's almost better. It's just like I'll just feel what it's
Yeah.
like then, on
Yeah.
certain events.
I was like, it's just gonna be what it'll be.
Yeah.
But so we went through that event. I think everybody did better at the yoke than they had expected.
Everyone
think so.
finished the yoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
And no one took an extremely long time to finish either.
No.
The yoke was relatively fast for everyone.
Yep.
Yeah, and then nobody got really beat up. Grayson got beat up a little bit on the yoke. It yanked him around a little till he reset. But then the bag was where having experience with the bag goes a long way, I think.
Yeah. And the other thing, even having experience with the bag is one thing, but doing the bag after doing the yoke is a completely different animal
Than just doing the bag. Yeah.
For me, when I bent over to pick that thing up, my butt and hamstrings were on fire. They felt like they were about to just explode. And I almost felt like I kind of needed to take a second. And I even struggled lapping the bag because it all felt so out of sync.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was if you look at, I don't know who all probably was the fastest with the bag. Probably Tanner, me,
Well, I
Larry.
wasn't because I took a dive.
Oh, yeah,
one
yeah,
foot
yeah.
away
there's a
from,
few people taking
Moved the
dives.
fastest
Yeah.
with it. But there was a lot of people that had got the bag and started moving, and then realized pretty quickly that they may not be able to hang on, so moved faster.
Yeah,
and then
to
just,
try and get to it. I think there was
Hot-
4 or
just-
5 body slams
like,
of the
just
bag.
piled
Yeah.
the bag into the finish.
And it's fun because in training, you would just set it down.
Yeah, you would
You know,
drop
but when
that.
when it's a competition, like ain't nobody just
Nope.
like dropping it.
Okay,
Like,
shit.
oh, I'm losing my grip, I'll drop it. Everyone takes it to the ground when it's gonna drop.
Yeah,
You know, like
Just laying out with a 220-pound sandbag.
yeah. So our strong fit sandbag took one hell of a beating and stood up to it.
I was just waiting for that thing to go down and go.
Yeah,
and the sand was gone. It's like, well, we ruined that
I
one.
literally like on a, you know, as much as you could sprint with a sandbag, you know, on a dead run of it, like
And
all
then
260
dove directly on it. Like,
yeah, a dive like belly slam.
yeah,
on
you
top
like
of it.
shouldered into
Yeah,
it right
yeah.
into the fucking ground.
But
And
it-
so did Grayson.
Yeah,
You.
Larry did too.
Jake
didn't
did.
he?
Jake did. I don't think Larry did.
Oh,
'cause he
Larry
was
had it
Jake.
on his shoulder.
Was Jake?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jake. Yeah.
Larry with the bold strategy of Larry also actually I think has if I look through the order of competitors, the amount of people that have done a lot of bag carries in general.
Yep.
Like Larry's probably near the top. Like
Yeah,
Larry
he does it
started
quite a
playing
bit.
with that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Larry picked that fucker and just took it right to his shoulder and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
And we had joked about it last week, and I was like, I mean, if you get it there fast, then
That's
you
the
can
key.
move really
Yeah.
fast.
Yep.
So when I got to it, I went to pick it. I had it on my knee. I lifted up, had it on my knee, and I was like, we're going to try to go to the shoulder. We're going to go all the way up. If it doesn't get there, we're just going to hug it wherever it is.
Yeah.
Then, and that's where we go.
Yep.
And it got on my shoulder. Then you can just you can actually sprint instead of waddle.
Right. Right.
And then
You can really take
and
real
so
strides.
I really went and fucking got went because I knew how fast some of the guys were.
Yeah.
And I wasn't super fast on the yoke, so I got to the end and I fucking was at a
Well, I think
full
you were still
sprint.
pretty fast on the yoke though too.
But I knew I wasn't as
Yeah.
fast as on the yoke as some guys, so I went after it, and then I dumped the bag right at the finish line, but I had a full head of steam.
Yeah, you did.
So it was 310 pounds
Yeah.
of me and 220 pounds of bag.
Yeah.
Moving full speed, and then we just both try to stop at the same time. And there was a fucking child on the other side of that rope that almost.
Well, that
ate
child's
it.
funeral is tomorrow. sad to say, it's
I thought it was gonna be like one of those
Child's
things where
dead.
Shaq jumps into the crowd getting a rebound and everyone just bails out.
I stopped. I stopped just in time, and then gave the kid a high five, which has to be the single riskiest high five that kid's ever got.
like, oh God, don't kill me. All right, I'm safe.
And that was good. Everybody did pretty good in that
Yeah,
event.
you won that event.
Yep. And then
How close was the time there on like those top three?
Well, you actually won by quite a bit because you were 16, and then second and third were 21 seconds, and that was Jake and Greg were real close there, and I was 23 seconds was next. So that dropping the bag cost me a couple places.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
that second and a half where I was like laying down. Then you're like
damn
laying
it,
down
damn
like
it. Trust me, Tanner.
yeah,
I
yeah,
fucking
you
know.
yeah.
I've been there.
Yep. But then we had 28 seconds, 29 seconds, and then
Is that? Can I see it quick?
yeah.
I don't think.
We only had one guy not finish, I think, is that we had one guy that
Oh yeah, Jaron couldn't move the bag.
he did move the yoke pretty
Pretty
well.
good, yeah.
This was Jaron's first competition ever, and he's pretty new to all this stuff. So
Yeah, it was just a lot of heavy stuff probably.
Yeah.
He probably I don't know if he had just it's props. to him
certainly
for
not
getting
real
out there.
familiar to all
Yeah,
of the
and
things,
the implements probably weren't very familiar.
Yeah.
So
So it definitely takes balls to go out there
Shit.
with
Yeah.
like
Oh.
10 other guys that maybe not everyone's an expert, but everyone knows a little bit
done
what
it,
they're
yeah.
doing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
then
so everyone finished except him, so that's pretty good.
so we moved from that right into the
Farmers carry.
Farmers carry.
And-
We can talk about the.
I just gotta say with
mishap.
with the transition now going between these two, is these events run fast, and we run a fast exhibition show
we
here.
run an insanely fast show. For
And-
anyone that hasn't seen like our thing and has seen a strongman show before,
Yeah,
it is not.
So,
like
so
that.
we're talking 5 events, start to finish. This whole thing. I mean, counting like the National Guard, all that. We're talking about 2 hours ish, right?
Yep.
Counting this, including the starting lineups and the national anthem and stuff, that was exactly 2 hours.
So it's a 2-hour show.
Yeah, from event to event, it was 105
It's like you're going to
minutes.
watch a movie.
Yeah,
That's
and so
your-
that first one got done, and my lungs were on fire after that.
Oh, yeah.
Along with my whole body. And then it's like, all right, into the next event. It's like, already? Like, don't we get time to not be dying?
Well, I drew first. That first event, we drew cards for order, and I had to go first. And I came over, and a bunch of people asked me how it felt or whatever, and I was like, I don't know how I am so tired after 24 seconds of work.
Yeah.
Like, literally 24 seconds,
And I want to go home.
and I'm, like, gassed, you know?
But it's like, it's a sprint, but on top of that, it's a sprint that's like crushing you.
Yeah.
And you're doing everything you can to not drop down to the ground.
Yeah.
And then we got into the farmer's carry, which Tanner, in all of his meticulous planning
Yep.
and double and triple checking, and he has, I mean, we have charts. We've got, you can see spreadsheets here for T-shirt sales as well as event-to-event scoring, and every single possible scenario was covered.
Yep.
And somehow we were like one plate short of being
I
able to
was-
load the farmer's handles two at a time.
Forgot 2 plates. I calculated the plates for the yoke and was thinking it was also the same plates that we needed for the farmer, you know, for running 2 sets of farmer's handles at the same time.
Yep.
And it wasn't. And they came over and, like, as soon as they said something, like, they're like, like, as soon as they started to load up and they came over and someone said to me, then I was like, shit. No. I knew right away. I was like, damn it, that's something that I forgot it. I forgot a plates. Didn't
There was
I?
a reason I woke up at 3 in the morning.
I shouldn't have watched TV in the morning.
So I went over there and I was like, well, what can we do with like 25s and 10s and 5s and stuff like that?
Of
And
course, I chime in right away, and I'm like, let's just make it lighter. Can we just make it lighter? Let's just use less plates.
And they're really like,
was no
wasn't
way.
even an easy combination to make it just a little lighter, and it wouldn't really work. So we decided to just run one at a time, which, as a competitor, I think everyone was happy because of how fast
the
everything
rest,
was going.
yeah.
If that would have went,
Twice as fast.
that would have been really fast into the the deadlift, but it still would have been
It would
cooler
have
to
been
watch.
cooler to
Yeah.
watch.
Because there would have been, if you look at the times here, there would have been some
fucking
hella
serious-
good races.
Yeah.
See, and I think what would have happened is the people going against each other would have pushed each other.
Yep.
And so I think you would have found like people
Everybody would have
would
done
have had like a tighter pattern in their groups, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yes, I think so too. Or maybe you would have seen some mistakes
yeah,
because
Someone
like
pushed you too hard.
Because,
right,
yeah, you're
some
too
tripping,
focused on the other person.
Yeah,
or-
like pushing beyond like what your balance is or whatever at that point in time. So we had all 11 guys go, and how many finished the course? Four did not finish the full 100 feet down and back, and so we had 7 guys that did finish it. And it was heavy, but something about farmers carries, it seems like guys in competition always do better than in training.
turn that on. Yeah,
I watched
Yeah.
several people
Do way
better in
Like
competition.
Eve said when he trained it, he was
couldn't
terrible
make
at it.
Yeah, he couldn't finish it, and Eve got second.
did he really?
Yeah,
And was fast. Like,
yeah, he got yeah, he did it in 19 seconds or something like that.
Wow.
So talk about your strategy.
Yeah. So I had the tennis elbow thing that I complain about every day, because I'm a wuss, and so I took it real easy on my grip, and I was like, I don't know if I can hang on to this fucking thing, but also I am a super bad deadlifter, and this is heavy to me.
530 pounds to pick
and
up.
I was like,
yeah.
so, and actually picking it up the first time wasn't near as bad as I expected it to be,
It didn't look bad.
and it didn't hurt my arm, so I just fucking dug in and hung on. Most of the guys, I think, were ready to drop it when you got to the other end to turn around.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
I think that was
but I was still pretty locked in, so I was the last one to go. So everybody else had gone, dropped it at the end, and then come back. And I was like, I'm not fucking putting this thing down, because who knows? One, like, I may take some time to shake it out, and so it was like, so I
Just take time,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I got there. Jade told me I was across the line, and I just stayed on and turned around, and the crowd, like, they were like, you could tell they were like, whoa. They were like, wait, that was a fucking option the whole time.
Yeah.
And then though that turn, because these are longer than the other ones.
Yeah.
So I saw the video my wife took, and after that turn, them fucking
You
things
go with
cross
yeah,
over.
they
really
keep
moving.
going. You start to walk straight, and they're still like
Yeah.
wanting to turn with
It's
the
like
momentum.
you almost need to only turn them a little bit and
Yeah.
then start walking.
Yeah.
But, made it without putting it down. Wasn't the turn does cost me some time. But
You still got third.
Yeah.
Third fastest.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah,
Do
and that was-
you don't think you could have gone faster if you would have set them down, or do you think?
No,
you
I
could've-
don't believe so.
Yeah.
No, I
You think that was your
I think
fastest
turning
option?
around took me 2 to
Yeah.
3 seconds probably, and I think stopping it, turning around. I mean, one shake of the hands and setting
Yeah.
up, you're there. So
You beat Greg. You got third. Greg got fourth. You beat him by 1/10 of a second exactly.
really? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah. 1/10 of a second, which we'll find out later. That makes a difference.
yeah,
Tommy, you made it 77.5 feet.
I would like to think I
Tommy,
also
yeah.
had the award for
Most-
picking it up and putting it down the most number of
You
times.
did, I think, didn't
you
you?
did it like 5 or 6 times.
Well, yeah, and I kept getting ahead of myself. Like, there was a couple times where I picked it up, and before I was standing, I was already thinking, let's move, and I wasn't quite set and locked in right, and then I
Yeah.
have to set it down
Yeah,
again
so
right away,
you'd-
and it's like,
you'd get it up,
slow down here,
Yeah.
and then once you do that, you'd be good again. But
Grayson made it 50 feet. Did he have to pick it up several times, or how did he?
Yeah.
do
see,
that
he went
50
down
feet?
to the end, because that's the end. Yeah,
Yeah, he made it
I
one
think he
way.
maybe dropped it once or twice on the way there.
How about Larry? Because he made it 90 feet. I don't remember that.
started-
so he was that
he
close
started-
to the
That's
end.
what- that's
Larry
why-
started. Larry, I think, dropped about, I'd say, at about 70 feet, and then I think it took him like 2 or 3 more picks to get it to 90.
Okay.
And then I think he was pretty smoked.
See, what would have been interesting had we been racing is you and Greg would have been going head to head.
Oh, really?
So
how
that
that
would have
that
been,
would have been a
and he
fuck-
would have set it down, and you would have turned.
Yeah.
And that would have been one hell of an interesting thing
Fuck
to
yeah,
watch.
it would have been. That would have been cool.
And you would have been like possibly like veering over into his lane
Yeah.
when that's going on and shit like that.
Greg Wagner is not a guy you want to be in the way.
You don't want to veer
with
into his lane.
farmer's handles.
So that, and I think I would have gone against Eve, and I went just
guys
under
were
18
close.
seconds, and he was just under 20 seconds. So it would have been a
Tight race.
good one to watch too. So that would have been cool. There would have been, and those would have been the last two.
Yeah.
You know, there would have been a couple really, really exciting moments there.
Yeah. And then, but that was, but that moved so fast again. It was yoke, and then to that,
Very fast. 11 guys through like,
yeah.
just like frustratingly fast as a competitor, where you're like, slow
even,
down, guys.
And
Like,
it's not
yeah.
even like, sometimes you do this stuff, and between like turns, that one person's like waiting so long to psych themselves up and going through a big chalk ritual
Yeah.
and adjusting. Like, there was no one doing that. It was like
No.
the thing was set up and the person's already there waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we kind of had the on deck routine there, so you
Right.
knew you were next, so everybody was ready.
We have enough people in place that like there's never any lag. No one's ever like, oh, it's my turn.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like everyone, we do a good job of, or we have people doing a good job of keeping
Moving
it rolling.
athletes,
Like the next guy up is kind of out there getting ready as he's going. Another thing about someone doing better, Ryan, the one time I practiced with him, he picked it up and carried it like 5 feet. And dropped it, and then he quit for the day.
Yeah.
And here he made the full 100 feet. In
Yeah.
35 seconds, or
Yeah, I don't know. We practiced it like earlier about a week ago, and we got up to probably 80% of the weight we were using, and he's like, "Yeah, it's really heavy, but it doesn't feel too bad."
Yeah.
and yeah, he
And
had a good day on that.
Eve flew, and then when I practiced with him, he made it about 70 feet and was unable to pick it up again. Like he was failing.
Huh.
And he did, and here he did it in 20 seconds.
That's the power of the people. Right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Then we went immediately into the car deadlift, which
Yes.
which I'd say this was the soul sucker.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
like and it wasn't because the car was stupid heavy. I don't know that when I think about it too. So we talked about this last night. The car last year was a lighter car, but it was a hatchback. So we feel like the weight was further back. Also, that hatchback was shorter, which meant it had a shorter wheelbase. So when you're picking
So
it
the
up on the
center,
back,
yeah.
you're not you don't have this long angle like you do on
Yeah.
a mid-sized car. So I think that's why this Malibu felt lighter.
It did feel. It
And we're all
was easier.
stronger, but we're not all that much
But-
stronger.
We also didn't talk about though. There wasn't a tire flip for.
Yes.
You didn't do 20 tire flips before you jumped
Right,
into a deadlift.
that makes a difference too, because the tire flip is a similar event like this from a fatigue standpoint. I think.
Yeah. It's just
You know,
go until your shit falls apart.
Because these two races that we did, event 1 and 2, aren't like an extreme fatigue. They're more like just a sprint, and you're like, oh, I'm gassed, but I just give me 5 minutes to
Get my heart rate
like
down.
to catch my breath. But like the tire flip or the car deadlift, they're not like that.
No. And we went through, so we started the car deadlift, and Grayson was near the beginning.
Yeah, he went second. The first guy he struggled and wasn't able to get a rep. He did come pretty close.
Got pretty close.
Yeah.
But Grayson got under that thing and just started like snapping them up. Pop,
Yep.
pop. And he got up to what, like 16?
16. Last year, 15 won it.
Yeah.
So Grayson puts up 16, and we're all like, fuck.
I also think this year we had it judged more strictly that would have almost encouraged less reps, because last year there was more like
Constant
going
movement.
really like constant movement, and this time it was more of a definitive like
You had
good
to be
rep.
locked and told to go down.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I think he would count and say down.
Yes.
Count and say down.
So there was like a lockout second, so you couldn't get in like maybe your perfect rhythm.
Yeah, which
so,
is hard to do anyways with the car having
Yeah.
shocks
Yeah.
and shit.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you're like, I think Ryan did it a little bit where he would bang it down, and he would just like touch and go almost. But
Yeah.
then
he
a couple
he was
times,
keeping tension on it the whole way down.
Yeah, you'd have to, and I think the couple times that it hit down and came up, like you'd start moving it up and it'd come alive.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he banged out 16 as the second guy to go. So
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Whoa, damn!" What's
Well, and then the rest
mark
of us
here?
are like, "Fuck, that means we have to fucking deadlift a lot."
Yeah.
Like this isn't gonna be something we can go and crank out 6.
Right. There's a big difference between like a 5 to 10 rep max and like 10 to 20 rep max.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you've ever performed that, like in the weight room on say a squat or a deadlift would be the two you could compare
Yeah.
it to.
Do a
Go do
15 rep max.
go do a real max where you're like
Can't
you
get 16.
get one and then you're like, all right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna stand here for 5 seconds and I think I can grind one more out, and you get that and then you're like, oh fuck, I can wait 5 more seconds and maybe get one more, and like literally go until you can't.
Yeah.
Do that to
with,
a
with about 90% of your max
right
on the bar.
Do that to 15 and you'll be dead.
Jesus. Yeah.
Like you'll be like, well, I'm done working out for the day.
And we started moving through. Tommy clicked out 11.
Yeah, you went third and got 11. Were you pretty happy with that? Like,
Yeah, I mean the most I'd ever we practiced that one day and it was just a
you did
lighter
a lighter
car,
car, yeah.
and a lighter car I did 5, and I'm like, okay, they said this car's heavier, and that 5 at the time was the most I'd ever done, so I did 11. And I was like, yeah,
because
happy
didn't
with
you
that.
say like before you started, you're like, all right, I need to get at least 5 or something like.
I was
that.
I mean I was hoping for like you
yeah.
guys said this car was heavier, so I'm like,
Yeah.
I better get at least 5, but
Yeah.
I felt like I was really getting in a groove on there.
Yeah. So did you? I can't remember when you hit 11 was like time up, or did you get to where you just couldn't go anymore?
No,
Like
at
your
that
last
point time
couple
was
had taken you a long
I had
time.
really slowed down on them. I was taking probably 5 to maybe even 10 seconds on the last few, and then by that point I was out of time.
Because there is differences in the way people will do that.
Yeah.
Some people will like almost go until they can't anymore, and then they just physically can't pick one up
Yeah.
anymore and say there's 15 seconds left. And you'll see some people that will literally like
Try to pace
And
them.
I was kind of trying to be cautious of that because I know like in the gym, if I have like a really, really heavy deadlift day, like the type of days you only get a couple times a year, and I like red line on that, I just can't come back from that. Like once my back is like been blown out completely with just like fired up like that, there's just no coming back for me. So I try to be a little cautious there, but yeah, I mean you're kind of going for it anyways.
That makes sense. Then Larry went after you, and he banged out 16 again to tie for the lead.
What'd Big Jake do?
Then Dylan did 12 next.
Yep.
And then after that was Ryan. So Ryan was someone that we knew was probably going to do
Really well.
and his mark to beat was 16. So I was like, oh, he's going to do 20. Like I was pretty sure at this time that like the mark for him would be 20. And that's what he did. And I can't remember. Could he have did he go to the max time limit, or where was
He
he?
didn't tap out. I don't think
Yeah, I mean he was at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had any more in the tank either.
Yeah,
though.
right.
I think the only way he could have got more is if he would have maybe gone a little faster during
Yeah.
that middle
At the beginning,
stretch.
yeah.
'Cause he was nearly, out of time.
But
it wasn't in a very.
The crazy
he was
thing is
not
though,
feeling good.
that's a deadlift every 3 seconds. Was it a minute
Yeah,
time limit?
yep.
I mean, that's a deadlift every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a lot of deadlifting.
And it's a deadlift at the top where it's like we said, it's like it takes at least a
Yeah,
half
you
second.
need a down command.
Yeah, right. So that was impressive. 20 was good. And Jake went after that and got 17.
Yeah.
He's another good deadlifter. Then Eve, another good deadlifter, hit 15. Thing about it though, Eve is a very good barbell, a very very good barbell deadlifter. But this is slightly.
This is a
than
different
that.
movement.
Yeah.
I
It
noticed.
almost has some sort of a like backwards pull, like your hips forward. You almost. It's like a slight hitch is almost required.
For me, once you break it like those first 3 inches, you can really like it just feels like load up your quads and almost like leg press into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has more elements of like a squat or a leg press than a regular deadlift does.
Yes, for
like,
sure.
My glutes got really, really hammered more than they do on a regular deadlift, I think. Then Big Greg.
Greg fucking crushed it.
Yeah, Greg got 22, and his last one.
He's like, Greg is at the top. The crowd's going nuts because that is a fuck ton of deadlifts. And Greg
His
is
mark
at
to
the
beat was
top.
20.
Mark to beat was
Keep in
20.
mind.
Gets up to 22, right?
Yeah.
And he's at the top, and he's gets it locked out. And he's all like tongue out, screaming like.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was like.
It was
man,
cool.
That is some
Yeah.
man shit right there.
It did look really cool, and then he like fell over against the car, and I was worried that he was dying.
Yeah. Well, Jade was.
I mean, as you
judging-
should with anybody that's done 22 car deadlifts. It's
Jade was a judge, and he said I didn't know if he was gonna get up because he was like really purple.
Yeah.
And he was down there for a while.
Yep.
That was impressive.
It was.
And then did you go?
Then I went, and I knew I would probably do well on it. So when Ryan did 20, I was like, damn it, I think I can do 20. Like that's my thought was seriously this, like I'm pretty sure I can do 20, but like I know what I'm going to feel like if I do 20, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the last 2 events.
Yeah.
Like that's what I was seriously concerned about. And then I was also thinking about, total points and stuff. And I was like, Greg's going to waste me
cover
on the
some
log.
ground. Yeah.
So I was like, I need to basically beat Greg in order to probably have a chance to
hang.
Yeah. But so I really wanted to get 23.
Yeah.
But I did 10 really
Fast.
really easily, like in probably 10, 15 seconds. And then I stopped because I was like, all right, I'm going to not red line.
Yeah.
And then I did like 3 or 4 and got to 15. And I did that up to 20. And then I had 2 left and maybe like 10 seconds. So I got 21. And then they're like, 5 seconds left. And I had to start that last one faster than
You wanted to.
way faster than I wanted to. And I kind of got the lockout I think maybe like a second before. So I tied him on that.
Yeah.
And then,
Then I
how about
went.
your improvement from last year to this year?
Last year,
this could be the MVP, our most improved performance of the day.
So on the car last year, I got 0, and it was pretty cool. Being the biggest guy in the field and getting just fucking blanked. I don't know what. I mean, I know I'm stronger this year, but also like, I just did not feel the tech. Like I could not move the way in that car, the way that frame gives. I just could not seem like I put any power into it at all. And this year, my goal was 1. And my next target that it was even worth me doing, which was basically I thought Dylan also got 11. So I was like, I need to get 12. Basically. Then
Because you could leapfrog.
So I could put some points, like limit the amount of points that I'm giving up.
Because if you could have got 12, you could have added 2 more points to your.
Yeah. But I didn't know that 5 was even possible.
Yeah.
So I got 1 and I kept moving and I got to like 6 and I'm like, fuck. And so that's
So then you're thinking, like, should I stop?
If I kill myself to get 10,
This literally, you should have just done 3 or 4.
1.
Yeah.
Just done 1.
Yeah, 1 actually, because there was a 0, so you just would have wanted to beat
But
the
also
0.
it's a show, so it's like fuck it. All right.
Yeah.
So I kept plugging away, and it was funny because like some of my athletes from the CrossFit gym were there, and we've been really, really working on like deadlift technique and having a nice solid hinge pattern, and don't be getting fucking doing risky shit. And my fucking last like 4 deadlifts were the worst looking shit in the world, and I had to be like, guys, just
Close your eyes.
Just close your eyes.
Yeah.
Avert your eyes, coach. Coach is doing some bad shit. But no.
So you tied Tommy.
Yeah. I got up to tied Tommy, and I actually thought that I tied Tommy and Dylan, but I was wrong. Dylan also, most of his reps are credit to him borrowing my Pioneer belt. So anyway, that was good. I was happy to have improved. I didn't want to fucking leave a 0 on there. It also sucks being like that bad at one thing. You know, like if in the strongman stuff, there's enough diversity where like if you can top 3 or top 5 finish everything, you got a pretty good shot at winning.
Right.
But you cannot
Get
finish
left.
in the bottom 2 or 3. Like you really can't in one event.
It puts you in a hole.
You can't win. You can do that and maybe like podium, maybe, but you are not going to fucking win coming in last in an event. Like,
At a small weight class subdivided strongman competition, you can, because there's probably only going to be like 3 or 4 guys
difference.
So you could be terrible at one event versus everyone else, and the worst you're going to do is like 2 or 3 points less than the guy that could be exceptionally better
the guy
than
that
you.
you're neck and neck with.
Right.
Whereas here,
but
if you're bad,
11 points, 10 points.
Yeah.
and you'll never dig out of that.
Right.
And you gotta, it's tough to even hang when you do that. And it always comes. That's what always bites me, and that's why when I don't win, I'm usually like, like there's probably a reason. You know what I mean? Like everybody is stronger than me. Like that's. I just feel like that's
Well, not
probably
everyone.
okay.
You.
Well, yeah, but like in general,
yeah.
Like, so. But no, I was happy with it. I think, and that fucking the kids, the people that I was talking to after that, like all the little kids, like the car deadlift was everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
Car
people like that
deadlift
one.
and the log.
Yeah.
Well,
A lot of people like the log.
The stones too, though, because
Stones
I
are
think
really
people
cool.
like in their minds
We'll
equate
have to
stones
get to that when we get to it,
Yeah.
but I want to hear your guys'
I think
take on that.
the little kids like the stone or the car because
It's a car.
like they think it's impossible.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the kids literally. I talked to a couple of them and stuff, and they'd be like, "Are you guys really gonna lift that?" Like they said, "Are you guys really gonna lift that car?" It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I mean, kind of. We're not gonna like pick it up and set it over our shoulders, but like in a way that you'll probably still be impressed by.
Yeah, kid, we really eat our Wheaties, man.
So that did go again. The one thing I would change about that versus the way it is one thing, be a little heavier.
Yeah.
Like being a Chevy Impala would be the next biggest up Chevy. But
Something that the rep range is more like between 3 and 15.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's especially from a competitor too, like doing 22. And I also talked to Greg about it. He was like, 10 minutes later, he's like, I feel like I just ran a
sick.
5K.
Yeah.
And like, I
and all
can't
of
run.
us, all of us like felt sick.
That did me in. I was cool after the first 2 events with little recovery and stuff. After that one,
I was
I was
afraid.
not cool the rest of the day. Like
Yeah,
where I was like
every-
dizzy, like where I'd sit down and hang my head and just be like, all right, no, okay, because the crowd is like all around us, and we know 50% of the people there, and they all want to say something to you, which is cool and fun and everything.
But at that
moment, I'm like, stop, like
I wanna
nothing,
die.
like
Just
don't talk to
wanna
me. I cannot use any of my breath to speak words, like, and I'm really unhappy, and I feel a little barfy. Like
the vibe in the players' pit got really dark after the deadlift. Everybody like it was the most hopeless and depressing vibe in there. Everybody was just scared of having to go do anything. We were like afraid.
And Eve came over and he laid down too, and he went a couple before me, and even by the time I got over and was recovered a little bit, he was still like
laying down.
He's like, I'm not gonna get better from this. He's like, I'm done. Like
some of that stuff
did it
though,
to
I was
me.
afraid I was gonna if I laid down, like everything was just gonna
Cramp.
seize up on
Yeah.
me, and I wasn't going to move again.
See,
It was.
I even debate that on just sitting sometimes.
I was right there the whole day of like, I can't tell if standing and moving around all day is like really just draining energy and it's going to add up, or if
You need to stay loose.
or if sitting down is going to conserve energy, but like when I stand up, it's going to hurt because things are going to cramp
Also,
up
if
on
you
me.
guys had to rank your level of warm up for any of these events,
Well, we
on
talked
a scale
about-
of 1 to 10, I'd be at a 1 at best.
Everything is 0 to 100. That's what I told Tan. Like, how do you warm up for this? He's like, you just go. It's like,
It's
Do
like
the
you
events
just
before
the very first event, you do some things that you do with a band, or you go touch all the implements. and then
play around.
you do the first event, and usually the first event is kind of one that
moves you a little bit.
yeah. Like I think that's by design a little bit, and after that you're just tired, so it's like.
And you
I'm
feel
warmed up,
yeah,
you know,
feel
like-
warm and moved. Like if I think I need something, like there was a barbell there, and like you can always do like some like rows or
Right.
a little deadlift. I mean, that gets things moving, but after that, you just do it, which is funny because like the next event, then the log press. If I'm gonna go up to like a 1 rep max for the log press in the gym, it's gonna take me a good 35, 40
yeah.
minutes to work up there.
Just
I'm gonna go in
just
steps.
to work up to like a couple 100 pounds on the log.
Yeah,
on any press.
you're not
Like,
gonna sort of
nobody's
throw it on.
We're gonna start at 2 bills.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Right.
And I'm like, no, it'd be the dumbest thing ever to do that. And it's like,
But
all right,
did it even
this is what we're
feel
doing.
like?
No, it felt great. Like
Yeah.
it felt like that's what I've warmed
Because
up
you're
with.
like, I'm not gonna warm up. I'm fucking tired. I'm
Not wasted any fucking
Like it actually
I
even
literally
crossed my
don't wanna
mind.
do anything
I'm like,
until I
I
have to
could
do
go
that.
grab the bar, clean it, and then just do a couple reps of 135.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that just wastes so much energy though. So I'll just keep sitting down.
It is like a battle of that where you have to decide, do I try to like literally not move a muscle and conserve as much energy until I go again, especially with ours for how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Because there is no break.
Yeah, and you can't like kind of warm up for the car deadlift either.
Right.
You know, I mean, we're not going to swap out
what
lighter,
they do.
a
Yeah,
little
bring in the
lighter
light car, bring in the car that's like stripped down with no doors and stuff.
Yeah.
So then the log.
The log was
Oh, the other thing about the car I would do differently, just from a event management standpoint, is we left it over to the side, so we never had to move it, so it was kind of out of the
Yeah.
way. I would have just taken the extra 5 minutes to align it in the dead center of the.
Back it up.
Yeah, back it up and put it right in the middle of the.
so we can spit on the crowd, can see your face.
Right, right.
Because we still were kind of tucked in the corner. We still made massive improvements compared to last year's showing.
Right. Like that's a very small. Like
Yeah.
I think it would be better to move it and put it in the center, but not. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think, but that could make it better.
Yeah, and that wouldn't take but a couple minutes.
Right. And at that point,
Everyone would have appreciated
I was
that
thinking,
time, I think.
I think all of us wanted the break, but I wasn't going to go over there and tell them to kill 5 minutes because then it's like
Then
I'm telling them I need a,
Yeah.
But
Well,
I think
then-
everyone wanted a break, but
And then, you know, the crowd is
Yeah.
sitting out there in the sun. And
Right.
we've been in those crowds where, like, when nothing's happening, you're like, why is there not anything happening? At least
Right.
I'm so
Oh,
impatient
yeah.
with those things. I'm like,
shouldn't they be going?
This
Yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah.
It should be moving.
And it's like I'm already just standing here.
I don't think. Would you guess anyone in the crowd ever had that thought?
I
don't
can't.
think so.
I don't know when you would have had time to be bored. Really,
Yeah.
there just wasn't enough downtime for it.
No, and the MC we had in the speaker setup is
Pretty legit.
right. It's like it's a professional dude, like
Yeah,
who sits at a
Radio
behind a
DJ
mic and does
booth,
that
yeah.
10 hours a day. Like
Yeah,
he knows how to kill
Yeah.
5 or 10 minutes here and there when he has
Yeah, and
to.
it was good when we had a little bit of downtime getting the order set up. He's like, starts pimping all the sponsors and hustling T-shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. He did. So
Way, my opinion, way better than Bill Kazmaier and Mark Henry.
yeah.
Arnold. Like, for real. But I don't even understand. And Russ does a very good job. But like, I don't understand why at the Arnold they don't just get a
really good
get
DJ.
a local radio
Yeah.
DJ who can work a crowd a little
Or
bit.
just
Or
like
get
a
a-
hype man of some
Right.
kind. Like
right.
like I believe wholeheartedly that Flava Flav would do a better job
Oh,
on
he'd have the
Yeah.
crowd go.
than Mark Henry
I mean,
and fucking Bill Kazmaier.
I think the Arnold they should get us to run the strongman and
just to organize
Rusty
the stuff moving around.
and we'll get Rusty and
Yes.
like fly in the 20 of us that it's going to require to
Well,
to
and
run
all
it,
you have
and-
to do is just make. Here's tips for the Arnold. You do not have 40 minutes of downtime between events.
right.
And if you
Jesus
do,
Christ.
because they will next year, maybe play some music during
Yeah.
that time or something. Like
seriously.
Bring out a fucking literally anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Something.
wheel out a bench press and have people do a bench
Yeah.
press contest for 30 minutes.
That would be better than nothing.
Do literally anything because you cannot have Kaz and Mark Henry stalling.
trying to entertain each other.
Nothing against them, but they didn't have any material either. So
Right.
they're just like, you can tell someone's in the ear like, it's going to be about 40 minutes. And they're like, oh, fuck.
Talk about their shoes again.
Anyway, so anyway, our MC did a badass job.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
So we move into the log.
200 was the starting weight. It was the last man standing ladder event. Bumped 20 pounds each round.
And we just moved and moved and moved.
Yeah.
Everybody
we had
did
3 people not
not
that
good.
got bumped out at the 200.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And then 220.
Then 220. and we only had one person bumped out at 220. So then we've got 4 bumped out at that point.
We jumped to 240.
To 240. Or wait, yeah, you got the
I got 220.
Yeah, so only one person. We went to 240, and I think only one person bumped out then.
Which was me.
That was you. So you got the 220 pretty easily, right?
I did, yeah.
And were you close on the 240 then too?
No.
Okay.
it's kind of I
One
guess
of those they go until they don't.
it's like benching. It's like
Yeah.
you can smoke one, you put 10 more pounds on it, and it doesn't move.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how overhead press is. And it was the 220 felt better than the 200 for me. And which made me think like, man, I'm gonna actually hit a pretty monster PR today.
Yeah.
The 240, clean it up. It was definitely heavier, but the clean was fine. And then it's like, yeah, this isn't moving at all.
Is that the one you ate off your head?
That's
the
one that gave me this guy right here.
What, is that kind of what? Like could you get the 240? Do you think maybe like in the gym in the right scenario, or like, what were you shooting for? Do you think?
If I got 220, I was happy.
Yeah,
which I did.
Yeah.
I do think if I trained more overhead press, I think 240 could be there relatively fast.
Yeah.
I think it's almost more of a technique thing at this point, just getting a better push, off the bottom.
Yep. Then we went 240. 2 of us fell off then, Larry and I. Then it went.
Larry ground out.
Oh man.
240 would have been his last one.
He ground out the one before that.
Yeah.
Like it was like I couldn't believe he got it.
Then at 260, did anyone? Yeah.
Jake went out.
Jake got 260. Yeah. So I should make sure I say that right. Jake and Dylan both got 260. Greg, Jake, you, and Dylan all got 260.
Then we jumped to 280.
280.
And Dylan and Jake fell off.
Dylan and Jake fell off.
And it's me and Greg. And
Yep.
Greg, I saw that Greg barely got 280. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it came back down and he kind of finished it. But
Yep.
so
He was just strict.
Yeah.
Every one of him wasn't particularly
all-
fast. It was all just
brute
like a
force.
Yeah.
And those take a lot out of you too. Those are
Yeah.
grinds. And I still push jerk mostly, so it's pretty fast. But so Greg struggled at 280, and I knew I had a lot. My elbow fucking hurt. Like I couldn't clean at all after that. Like I knew I could do it, but it hurt a lot.
Yep.
So I definitely didn't want to take any bigger jumps than I needed to, and I knew Greg probably wasn't going to make it to 3.
Yep.
So I was like, since we got to, we said let's just jump to 290, and we jumped to 290, and then Greg missed, and then
And you got it pretty easily.
I got 290 pretty easy, and Jade came up. He's like, "You want to just do 300 for the crowd?" And I was tempted to because I knew I could do it pretty easy, and but my fucking elbow hurt so bad. Otherwise, I definitely would have done it. That would have been cool. But
because I had been hoping to see someone do. That was my hope was to see someone do.
If it would have
300.
been like at the Arnold where someone comes up and goes, "All right, if you go back out and hit 300, we'll give you a check for 5,000."
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Oh,
that is what literally
That's what
happens
happens
there.
there. Yeah.
And then they're like, well, fine, I'll do it then. Like
Yeah.
they're like, no, I don't need
trying
to
to
do
win."
it.
Yeah. And I wasn't really trying to win. I just, but anyway, it hurt, so I wasn't trying to hurt
Right.
myself. But next year, we'll definitely someone will put up 300 next year.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so. What I noticed we used the bigger round log, the 12-inch log, and this didn't ultimately affect how I did. It's not like I did like 40 pounds less because of this, but from being tired from the dizzy tired from the deadlift, when I had it cleaned every time and staring up into the sky, I was literally my head was
I noticed that right away. There's two things. Is in the gym when I first practiced with the smaller log 2-3 weeks ago, I was just taking it out of the rack.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much starting with it on my chest. But with that smaller log, you have a little room to kind of adjust it on your shoulders, move around, and your head's not really in the way of anything. You're just there. Well, with this bigger log, it doesn't really have anywhere to go besides the one spot, which is in your face. Mm-hmm. And in the gym, you can look up and you can almost kind of pick out a spot on the ceiling, and that's kind of like your gauge of just reference to the world.
Yeah.
Here, I go out and grab that 200 and look up, and all you see is empty blue sky, and immediately
and
it's
no
like
reference to the
yeah,
horizon
it-
at all.
it-
So you're like, am I fucking falling?
Yeah, it's
kind of dizzy.
It's just it's the same as if you need to keep your balance and then just go on one leg and then just close your eyes, and it's like, I don't really have anything to calibrate myself, and that's how it was. You felt lost out there right away.
Yeah, I felt that every single one, even starting at 200. the weight of the press wasn't hard, but I was just like, it took me a couple seconds every time just to be able to like stop feeling like I'm going to just fall over and die.
That's why I tried to get the clean and get
just
it up
go
as fast as I could, just so I didn't.
That's a good strategy, I think.
And be smothered. And the one time I got hung up with it, like
on the 260,
it was like a weight I totally could have done pretty easily, but I just.
Like did you sit there for a second and then you felt like that?
And I didn't have a good position. My log was too low on my hands.
Yeah,
so
you had to take.
It like ran away from me, but no, that was cool. Next year we'll get 300. But that fucking log, I like that log a lot. It's a nice, easier clean.
It is definitely easier to clean.
The wider cutting for the hole for your hands to get in.
Yep.
It doesn't. The other one is so narrow that it fucking really jams up my wrist. So I could really turn this one over.
Do you think that the handles are the same?
I think Ryan measured them.
We measured them. They're the same width.
I think the handles are the same, but just the opening,
And so the difference is I'm grabbing in the same spot, but on the other one I have to be elbows in to keep my wrists out of the way. Right. And then you're just doing
a hammer curl.
But that log, with the size of that log, with it longer and bigger, it fucking looks really cool. Like those pictures that people got of the log, like right there in front of the crowd, looked really badass.
And I think Tyler, I think it was maybe me and you talking, saying like that log, if it gets used again, needs like the full Massenomics makeover. We need to get the red paint. So when you flip it over, we got a logo, like the Austrian oak style. That would look cool.
That is very true. That would be a way to one up, because I think we one upped ourselves from last year, going from the little log to the big log.
Now we just got to make this log like
the pimped out Massenomics log.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We're gonna put speakers in it. Then we go on to the final event, which was the Atlas Stones.
Fifth and final.
And we kind of gone over the rules in this before, but basically we had 4 stones. You could pick whatever stone you want. You could change stones in the middle. 1 rep of the heavier stone beats many reps of the lightest stone. And we talked last week about what we thought maybe
strategy,
we would do. And I was like, just really hoping that I would get to 300, because I've only got it in practice once, and we're all like pretty sure that people were going to make the wrong decisions. But I think almost everybody, Ryan struggled with it, I think, because he was smoked
from the deadlift.
Yeah. But pretty much I think everybody exceeded their expectations on the stones for the most part. I don't know, what was your thought going in, Tanner?
Yeah, I probably hit my expectation. You know, like I didn't know for
was
sure.
A hopeful expectation.
Yeah, right,
to be able to get it at that point in the competition.
Yeah, and like every strategy and like weird scenario that we had talked about pretty much came up. Like that, people. It was really
you go down, you go low, and you come up.
Because like I'll just go the order by what people did, because it's interesting to literally see what people chose. You know, because so there's the 220, the 260, the 300, and the 330. Jaron went first. You know, he was the newcomer. He did the 220 and got it once. So that's a perfect example of why it was nice to have the 220.
Yep.
Because say if we had the 260, he might have blanked it. Yeah. And this way he at least got to get some experience with it, and he got to load a stone over the bar, which is more exciting. Yeah.
Which also puts the pressure on if someone's going to fight with a bigger stone and they don't get points. There's a guy that
he locked in some. He locked into place, and that did come into effect.
Yeah.
Then Grayson went, and he last year, what did he say? He couldn't load like the 200 or the 220, maybe the 220.
He did get the 220.
Yeah. And this year he loaded the 260 for 3 times. So that's a pretty good improvement.
Did he try the 300?
I don't think so.
No, he just
stuck with the 260 and knocked out 3 times.
And so I was and he did that, and I'm following up Grayson.
So
we were very close in points. Yeah. So like for where we were at in positions, like this had a play into how.
So Tommy, you basically had to choose. You could take a stab at 300, or you got to push for 3.
Well, the 260 you would have had to do it 4 times.
And I'm like,
beat him.
I really don't want to do that 4 times. Yeah. I'm like, I've pretty much made up my mind that I really want to hit the 300. I wanted to hit the 300 in practice, but my back had been bugging me, so I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to show up, and it's gonna have to be a game day thing. And I looked at Ryan, and I'm just like, the 300's got to happen. And I went out there, and I was all tacky, and I grabbed that 300, and I don't know if I fumbled with it the first time, but I picked it up and it left the ground, and I right away in my head was thinking like, oh man, that came off the ground easy, And I picked it up, cleared it right over the bar, and I was like, I just did that, and right away I'm thinking, everyone's going to do this like 8 times now. Like that's all I could think in my head is everyone's going to do 300 like 8 times, because I've never done it once, and I did it what in my brain felt relatively fast. Yeah. So they bring it back over. I play with it a few times, trying to get it back up, throw it over the second time, and I'm just thinking like, yep, people are going to be throwing crazy numbers around today. And I fought with it for that third one. But
Did you lap the third one? Or?
I got it off the ground a few inches a couple times, but I could never get it. I think at that point I was starting to lose my tack, and the arm thing kind of it's a long day at that point.
Yeah, and that's a long minute. Is that a minute?
Yeah, a minute.
Yeah, that's a long minute.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how many reps people could do in a minute, and it all obviously depends on what stone they choose, but nobody did over 3 reps of any stone. Like to do 4 reps of a stone that's somewhat challenging for you in a minute,
it's hard.
Would be that takes a lot.
It almost has to not be that challenging.
Yeah,
for
that's
you.
and
Like
that
you can't like it takes some time to get it's necessary for you to have your tacky you need to be hooked up.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to get that in 1 second unless you're really fucking lucky, and then pull you're going to burn 5 or 6 seconds setting up.
Right.
I think
if that 4 is almost the number. If you can do 4
of anything,
you
then you probably should be.
would
make you'd be better off
Definitely
going
should
heavier.
move up.
3 you should probably be considering it.
Yeah.
Yep. And so after I got done with that 300, my time was up and I walked away, and I was just to me that felt like a win for the day, just for never doing the 300 once and then to get it for a double. I was like, I'll take that.
Yeah, because you'd never got it even in
Yeah.
practice.
No, I'd never got it off the ground before. I'd never even lapped it before.
Right.
So to get it for a double was
the first time you peeled that fucker up, you just hugged it right off, and I'm like, Tommy.
That's what I was like. Oh
fuck,
shit,
Tommy?
that's not even hard for him.
I was excited.
That's what you thought too. I was like, that's easy for him.
And every time somebody does that shit, you're like, oh fuck.
it's like,
I
guess
would
I
have
gotta
much
try to
rather
do something
seen
good.
everybody do really well at 220 and 260, so that you don't have to do all this super. You don't have to put yourself in a bad situation.
Right. Dylan was next, and I don't know. Did he what he ended up with was the 260 for 1. Do you know? Did he try heavier than that?
I think he tried all of them. I think he tried 330. Did he try 330?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I really can't remember.
I think he tried. I think he moved through each one.
Oh, okay. So, and he got the 260. But last year on the stones, I think he's couldn't get.
He just hasn't practiced with the implements. I don't think.
So he is probably not disappointed with getting the 260 because that's 50 pounds heavier than any stone he's ever loaded before. So still not bad. Larry was next, and Larry, what did he started with a 300?
I think he did, and
Did he get one?
fought
No.
with that thing.
Oh fuck yeah.
He fought with it on
Did he
the.
get blanked?
Yeah.
Yeah. Larry fought with it. Larry had it on the crossbar twice.
Twice for a long
And
time.
didn't get under it.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get under it. Ugh.
And that's the thing where being shorter
Oh yeah,
just makes it harder.
Yep.
You know,
for sure.
like
That would have been Larry. If Larry got that 300 stone, that would have been a big jump. That would have been fucking cool.
yeah.
But that would have bumped him in the points a lot too.
Yeah, it would have because there you go. He literally got 0. He got last in the event, and his strength or talent level at that event isn't representative of last.
Yeah.
That's
just how it played out.
Yeah, because that's the choice, and it was so close. Like I'm not saying it was the
He made
wrong
the right
choice.
decision.
It was the right choice. But he just missed it by that much. So that sucks. But that's what makes that event cool, I think. Then Ryan was next, Flying Ryan, and he tried the 330 first, right away, right?
Yep.
And he didn't get that. I can't remember. Did he lap it or what did he?
I don't even know if he got it.
I don't
lapped.
think he ever got it lapped. He
up
just
a couple
yeah,
times.
he was
He's
just having
done
trouble.
the 330 before.
Yeah. I think he was specifically out of all of us, the most beat down after the deadlift.
It's
Because everybody did a
different.
lot of
Yeah.
deadlifting, and Ryan's really good at deadlifting, but he did 20 reps, and he's 6'5". There's a lot of fucking movement that happens there.
Yep. So then he moved down to the 300 and he did get it by 1.
He got it.
He got one round.
One on the 300. So he saved face. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't bomb out.
Right. And Eve did the same thing Larry did. I don't know what weights he went with. I think he started with the biggest one, the 330, and went to the 300, and then I think he might have even went to the 260. Maybe he stayed at the 300 and never got it, or maybe he went to the 260 and ran out of time.
Yeah.
So he went to the bottom too,
well.
and I've seen him load the 300 before. So that's another case where he took a risk, and it's tough. Then Big Jake He rolled out the 330
Jake
right away.
rolls out the three. Now at this time, I'm in 4th and Jake's in 3rd, and I'm like, God damn it, Jake.
Putting the pressure
I can
on.
tell you by how much too. Greg was in 1st by 3 points, and then me, then you.
Oh, I was in 3rd then.
Yep,
That's right. I moved to 3rd after the log.
Yeah, you were in 3rd. You were ahead of Jake by 1.5 points.
Yeah. And
But-
then and so I basically knew though that whatever Jake did,
Like
I
you needed
basically had to tie or
Yeah,
beat him
yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
Because I don't think because at that point there was nobody left that was going to jump over me unless I did really bad.
Right.
But at that point I wanted the 300 stone and I just had to like do better than Jake did. So Jake starts at the 330 and in my head I'm going, Jake, you're not going to get this 330.
Yeah. How did it go? How did it literally
It
go
went
for him?
so fucking fast. He got it so easily the first time.
So what happened then? Like he had to have had like
Then it
30
was
plus seconds
just
left. Like he just
fucking hard. I think
Yeah.
he got. Did he lap it once or twice and got it close? And I think he had 1 or 2 drops with it, and there was just nothing left. But he got to 330, and I remember looking over at Tanner, and we're like, "Fuck, now we pretty much
Yeah.
like so."
Because at that time too, I was like, oh, no one had done the 330 yet, and Ryan missed the 330, who was someone I was banking on getting it.
Yeah.
When Ryan missed it, I was like,
maybe it's.
maybe I'm not gonna try the 330. Like
Yeah.
maybe nobody's gonna do the 330 because he was someone I.
Oh, and
thought
he
was
had a
going
video
to.
of getting in the gym, and
Yeah.
it was easy.
Yeah. So my thought at that minute changed like. Maybe it is like who can do the 300 the most.
Yeah,
Until
everybody's just beat and
until
you gotta
Jake-
remember going
yeah.
into this week, 300 would have been cool. Like, I was
Yeah.
like under that level of fatigue, getting
Yeah.
300 stone would have been great.
Well, even up until now, what do we have? 6 people that have ever even done the 300 once.
Right.
Like it's
right. Right. True.
And
so,
so, yeah,
it took some
Jake-
balls for Jake to roll out the 330 first to decide like, screw it, leave the 300.
And I suppose well, actually, I know he wouldn't have because I know better. But Jake could have, attempted the 330, not quite gotten it, and then
I don't
tried
think he
some
would have
attempts at the
ever
300.
went-
But here's the deal.
I don't think he would have
I
ever.
know Jake,
moved
and Jake
down.
was not going to quit that 330-pound stone until it fucking landed on him. There was no way Jake was going to move back down because that's what makes Jake good. Is Jake really, really believed he could get that stone, and that was all it took.
And also, he was fourth place, just barely shy of third total standings.
Yeah.
He's thinking like, if I get first or second in this, I'm
Take a jump.
gonna make the
Podium.
top 3
Yeah.
for sure.
So
But-
Jake pushed the pace, then,
Yeah.
because now all of a sudden we had this fucking high water mark that I had to deal with.
So you started with the 330 right away,
I
right?
walked out and I didn't think about it. I didn't think about how much heavier it was or how much I didn't like the 300 when I did it in practice. And I just walked out and I said, just leave the big one. And then, it came off the ground okay. And I didn't struggle getting it over. Like I thought, I was worried about trying to stand it up. I knew if I could lap it, I'd be all right. But taking it off your lap, especially a stone I never lifted, I didn't know if I'd get up and be like, oh no, But then it came up, and then I got it the second time. It come off okay, and then the third time it was really hard, But they all went over okay. And 3 at that with that, I mean, there's no way I was going to get 4. There was no time, and the guy has to breathe. And I don't know that. I mean, you'd have to be so fast to get 4
Yeah.
with that.
I mean, that's 3 takes.
It felt like every one of them took forever.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
But still, it's averaging 20 seconds apiece, including changeover.
Right,
getting the
right.
stone back to you.
The spotters did a really good job
man.
of people changing weights and stuff. There was never like,
yeah,
like,
even with
what are you
guys,
doing?
even with guys moving down, moving up.
They're
Fuck yeah,
Like-
and getting them reset when they went back over, like it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
awesome.
they were on
when they pushed that
on
300 back to me, I was like, I could wait like a
Yeah,
second or
like,
two. Like
guys.
Don't put this right back on me.
Yeah. I just got rid of that thing.
Yeah, come on, man. Then were you next or Greg?
I was next, and Greg was ahead of me by 3 points going into the event. And, I was ahead of you and Jake by a little bit. So my thing was I was really thinking I definitely have to do the 330. And
You got to put some space between you and Greg.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I was like, if I didn't know how Greg was going to do on the stones. I know Greg is really, really strong and everything, but with his body type, I was thinking he's probably not going to do as well as some of us that are doing like I was banking on him not getting the 330 stone.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, I'm
you
pretty
get
sure I have
two-
to get second
Yeah, if
in
you
this
get
event
one or
in
two,
order to have a chance. So I knew that I had to get 2.
Yeah.
So I picked it up off the ground right away the first time and like almost had it lapped and lost my balance and dropped it all the way to the ground, and I was like, shit. Like literally at that second I was like,
Do I move down? What do I do?
well, yeah, I was like, well, no, I wasn't going to move. I knew I needed to, but I was just like, that is not like, I don't feel good about what just happened right there, you
Not
know?
excited about what's happening next.
So then I pretty much got it lapped right away again and did my first one. It didn't feel easy, but like looking at it on tape, it's like it went right away. You know, it went over the bar. I didn't have to fight it over the bar. The second one, I got it lapped fairly quickly, and then when I went to get it over the bar, like I felt like I couldn't, like I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. I was feeling weak and just like I was like, oh God, it's so hard.
Yeah.
And I finally got it pinned against the bar, and at that point I was like, I really need to, because you know that's going to be the difference in at least a point. You know, it will be a difference in a big point for me. So
And it's a swing point.
yeah,
Like,
so like I transitioned my hands to the bottom of it, and last year with the 300 stone, it's literally exactly what happened where I was like
Underneath
stuck,
it.
like it's like rolling back and forth across the bar as I'm trying to get it. And last year it didn't mean anything really as far as winning, but it was just like it felt like the crowd really wanted it, you know. And so I was pretty disappointed about not doing it. And I feel like I had a flashback at that second in time where I was just like, no,
not again.
But it got over. It was questionable. I looked at it on tape even, and I had it, and it like came like it rolled like
had a moment.
down for a little bit, and I just like barely caught it and got it over. And I had maybe 15 seconds left, but I didn't. I
After
walked
that
away
fight,
immediately. Like there was no like I couldn't have done the 220 stone for one after that, you know. So I was done, and I was happy with that. But my biceps, like 30 seconds once I walked away, I was like, just ow.
Fired,
I was like, I think they're like both cramped or something, you know, like I can't move correctly there. So then Big Greg went last, and
Greg did what
he started
probably
with the
should have
260
because he didn't. I talked to him about it a little bit. He said he
Yeah.
didn't know where he was at all, so he didn't want to start high and then chip down and not get anywhere.
Right.
So
like end up like Larry or Eve,
so
where
he
you
did
just
the right
screw
thing. He
yourself.
started with the 260. Let's say the 260 was super hard for him, then he should have just stayed there and done reps. Right?
Yep.
So I think he did it right. But
Yep.
the 260 was pretty easy.
And especially he's ahead by quite a bit, so he knows you almost like
He
he's
can play
thinking
because he's got to be on the board, you know.
Right.
And so then he went to the
300.
300, and then did he not get the?
He
300?
got the 300, but I think it was not super easy.
Yeah,
because I don't think he tried the three. I think he
No.
tried the 300 for a second rep,
time,
and couldn't get it. But at that time, it's your third rep, and the third rep is hard.
Always hard.
So,
no matter
I
what.
mean,
Yeah.
like,
So that's the other trade off is that let's say you build up to the 330.
then
Man,
that's your third
you really
rep,
don't want that one to be the one the heaviest one to be the one you get to while you're out of breath.
right?
Like
And your
that's-
tackies weren't off.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. So I still think he attacked it right. Had he had more time practicing with the stones, he probably could have gone at it different. But he just didn't quite know where he was at.
What would have been better for him if he would have done the 300 right off the bat and gotten 2 reps of that would have helped him move up a little bit, you know, because that would have put him equal with Tommy.
So we wrap up then. That was the end of the show. We had tight finish then. Podium was, we had Jake in 4th place rocking the barbecue sauce.
So he won a gallon of Big John's Old West barbecue sauce.
Which I was talking about earlier. It is the only size of that barbecue sauce that I buy anymore.
It's the only
I buy the
sufficient
1
size.
gallon jug because that's $20, and I basically eat that barbecue sauce in the $5 bottle. Like that's the quantity size. Like that's my serving size is the full bottle. So I use the gallons so I can not have to go shopping all the time.
Yep.
And then in 3rd place, just narrowly edged out Greg by like half a point. And then I got 2nd and Tanner got 1st.
And I was only 1 point above you.
Yeah.
So the top 3 of us were within a point and a half, and Jake was only 3 points back from third. Yeah, from Greg.
Crazy.
So the top 4 were really all pretty close.
4.5 points.
The top 4
5
places
points.
all came down to that last event where like
Yep.
all of those could have swung
Yeah.
in a different orders.
Yeah.
A combination of different orders.
Yeah, maybe you should have missed that stone.
That's what I mean. Like it literally like
Yeah.
all those little differences made a difference. Which a lot cooler than the finish of last year. I think like this year is like
yeah.
what's going to happen.
Last year was pretty much decided. I think you had us by about 20 points last year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
is a lot.
you guys fucking certainly do suck.
No, I'm just. This was much cooler though, and I think what you had the idea, Tommy, of in between each round.
Kind of having a placing because
Yeah.
like last year the event got
Nobody
done and
knew.
like we kind of all knew that Tanner won a lot of events.
Yeah.
But after
Yeah.
like but even if like the scoreboard went up and like Tanner got third, I've been like, I guess I didn't see any standings, so I can't argue that.
So Tommy's girlfriend Leah then was the card girl.
She was.
So between rounds, she was in her swimsuit and walked around the crowd. No, I think that was nice because then the crowd actually knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Too. Like
And she said when she was taking the board around, people were like, "Oh, I didn't see it. Hold it up." And
Yeah.
so people were really paying
Wanted
attention
to
to the
know.
standings.
It
Yeah.
was cool too because most you go to that you always want to see that
and you never know.
you never get to.
Yeah, you just never know.
So that is
And
like
sometimes
an
there's
easy
things
thing
where
to
it's
add
like-
that was really helpful.
Yep.
You'll like be going first in the next event. And you're like, wait, but I thought I won the last. Oh, whatever.
Yeah,
You know, like it's
yeah.
just-
That's exactly. It's like, oh, I guess like
I don't know. Like, is
I
this
don't
all
know.
on the up and up?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what's happening here?
right.
So, no, it was good. We had a lot of fun. Then we drank all the beer, and then made our way out to the fair again and drank all the beer there.
Yep.
And the rest is history.
It sure is.
What is happening up there?
Is there like a party in this house?
I don't know. There's kids yelling up there. But, guys, what else do we got to get out there today? We are running long.
Yeah. We didn't have any G-Dam reviews, so don't have to worry about wasting any time with that. Thanks.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, thanks for nothing, assholes.
we did sell a ton of merch, so thank
Yeah.
you to the people that purchased stuff. I mean, I think it's safe to say it exceeded all of our expectations
Yeah,
of what we were
absolutely.
going to sell.
Yep.
And thanks to the crowd, we had a good crowd.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that exceeded my expectations because that is what I expected. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, well, I think that's going to do it for us today. We'll get back into the full swing of things next week. But until then, make sure you go to you want to support the podcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, help us out. Go to Massenomics.com. Go to the store, and you can buy hats, shirts, all the cool stuff, including this super sweet bro tank I got on here. You're not going to be able to get that limited edition lift shirt, but you can get the blue one. There you'll also find all our articles, videos, and all that good stuff. Go to youtube.com/Massenomics. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And you can also make sure you like our Facebook page. I'm Tyler. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler F. and Stone. That's Tyler EFFIN Stone. And Tommy?
You can find me at Tomahawk_D.
And Tanner?
The Massenomics Instagram page at Massenomics.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us today. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week. And
You
stay
just
strong.
heard the Massenomics podcast. With your ears, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, that was mine.
Check us out on Facebook. Find us on Instagram at Massenomics and make sure you visit Massenomics.com and buy some of that sweet Massenomics gear. From your friends at Massenomics Studio, home of the world's strongest podcast, stay strong.